I hope not. It's 9 o'clock, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Happy December. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes of November 27th, 2023 as written.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Hugden, seconded by Meeks. Any discussion? I think everybody was here, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. Next is to approve the minutes of the continuation of our meeting on November 29th, 2023 as written. Moved by McCurry.
I'll second.
Seconded by Meeks. Any discussion? Hear none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. 4-1. Next, miscellaneous motions. Move to authorize Director Chairman to sign 3 tax abatements in the amount of $1,480.52. Let's see.
Also move, most of it's tied to a,
Vehicle.
yeah, I had it here a while ago. But also move.
Moved by Meeks, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Do we want to hold on that for further discussion? Memorandum? Or did we roll that through? The department head, did you get with them?
I sent an email out last week, and I got feedback from several that said no problem. One had questions on if we were going to go back to the 22nd, and I said no, we would remain cut off on the 15th, and I think it's okay, so,
Everybody's on board,
yeah,
no qualms.
I think so.
I went totally through it there one afternoon. Pardon me, it looked like it would fit. I just, both years there's been 2,080 hours. It ought to work out with everybody.
Well, if we can go ahead and roll it out.
But if I remember right, by May, you're gonna be caught, I mean,
Yeah,
May is,
May would be the last time we
Right.
moved the day, and then June would be on target from
Right.
then on,
Right.
so.
Nobody's here to yell at us, I guess.
And I did tell them I would be putting this before you guys today. I think they understand with this time clock system, because like Road and Bridge has 55, 60 employees, and for them to review all the timesheets, I mean, they're gonna need a day or
sure,
maybe 2.
sure.
And then for us to process, and then to get with you guys on a Monday or whatever day, we've gotta have a little more time, so. As much as some, maybe someone may not like it, but the processing counts.
It'll all work out though. I mean,
Yeah.
Nobody's going to lose anything at all
No.
in the end.
And what we did was we had it so that instead of like 1 month, they get paid 20 days, and the next month they get 22.
I was going to say.
We moved it so they could get 21 and then 21, and with the weekends in there, it's gonna be like that eventually anyway. There is gonna be a month that they're paid 20 days or 21, 22, maybe once in a great while 23.
Right.
There's
But,
1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 pay periods per
yeah,
per
and
year
it's
is gonna
just
be
how the
23.
weekends fall and how short the month is. So in this transition, for these first few months, I thought, well, if we can shift that date, we're not actually cutting it back like 22nd and then 21st, 20th. It's shifting just a little bit
Right.
so that they could have the same 9 days, so.
Motion to approve paydays for Coffee County employees during calendar year 2024.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Hugden, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? Do I need to read the top of that, you think? Well, I read it last.
If you'd like.
The 2024 calendar year will be moving the pay date back to the 15th over a course of about 5 months. We're going to adjust the cutoff date on the pay schedule, which is attached, from January to May. You will be paid for exactly 21 days each month. Then the monthly days paid will fluctuate from 20 days to 22 days, as they already have been since we have went real time. So,
Yeah, that's basically.
been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hear none. All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes.
That's you to initial here, and then you guys can sign off.
I believe that concludes our miscellaneous portion. Morning, Bobby.
Cool.
You have a good weekend?
Roll Tide.
Looks like they're gonna play, Wade's favorite team.
Oh, can you imagine the kind of smack talk I'm gonna give away?
Got your plane tickets yet?
We talked about it, it's too expensive. Unless we came into a big windfall somehow, it's unrealistic.
Steppers like you guys.
Yeah.
It would not be cheap.
What the one wants, and that was just by all the stars and moon and everything lined up, and it didn't cost me a dime, so I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
Bobby, do you have anything for us before the rural water discussion? No?
Morning.
There's a sign-in sheet right in front of the newspaper guy. How are you this morning?
Good morning. How are you, Jesse?
I'm doing fine. How you doing? San Francisco played the lights out game last night, didn't they, yesterday?
Yes, it did.
They, what was it, the Eagles? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a heck of a game. Heck of a blowout.
Cool. That was easy.
Where are you out here?
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
Before you got here, I already got the Roll Tide in.
Still got 30 days. Hear about it for 30 days, huh? Yep. Be a good game.
I highly suggest that the commissioners get on YouTube and search Michigan reacts to Alabama. There's a video of them all sitting in a room waiting for to be announced, and when they saw Alabama pop up, they go, oh!
I'm not sure that's the reaction. That is the reaction, but for a different reason. My opinion is it's because a 13-0 undefeated team didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a bad view.
But
How does that work?
Not sure anybody knows.
well, there's speculation, and you don't leave the SEC out of the playoffs, is what it comes down to.
There's a lot of the bowl selection, right?
That's right.
I don't understand.
I still think I need to go to the 18 plus.
They go to a 12.
They go to
Well,
12
sure.
years.
And then they don't worry about this.
Saban, said he's come down with fever.
Yeah, Saban Giannis.
Yes, wondering if he won't be able to attend today. Is it possible to video call for the 11 a.m.? It's not 11 a.m.
It's 9:30.
I don't think there's any way to do a video meeting with Saban at 9:30.
Get them on TV here.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Is there?
I can send them an invite.
Guess I can continue signing text. Yep.
How you do it? You can see it.
How you doing, man?
He said, okay, thanks.
Setting up a meeting right now.
Point.
How are you? Is he taking?
Sitting between two pretty rough guys. and
I
keep them in
know.
line.
I'm leaving him to Marshall. Marshall's the tough one. Yeah.
People pick on me when I was saying that.
Did they chat a basement? For a little while. I thought we'd be stuck in the middle. Heck, you got windows up here and everything. Hello.
I say, we get everybody.
Yeah, it's more chairs.
Have a full house. Rough crowd.
Yeah, it's getting rougher as they come in.
Just getting rougher as it comes in.
And they're all just good. You don't let them out of home.
North part of the county's rough.
Yeah, very good.
Hey, Bobby, anybody else I need to send an invite to save it?
There you go.
You might also copy,
Oh.
Rick Walker.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. She makes it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, mellowed right out. Yeah, it's not that happy. Amazing how fast it changed. You found out that. You see it, it goes down hard. Yeah. You get this master gear putting up these big metal cans, it's very. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, I'm back there, North Walker.
It will all come back.
Yeah, wait for the season to change.
Craig was telling me about this. Give him a coffee too, I thought, but after he be running on because I seen twice where it was my car driving next to Ronnie, suddenly breaks on the way. This is all off. Yeah.
How many more you think's coming in?
3.
3 more?
Yeah, we got a couple stretches that go across country.
Extra road shares, too.
Probably doesn't.
Yeah, I'll grab them.
What do they do on
Where they at? There's some I got.
And I didn't see them.
Yeah. I think get out of here. Yeah. I got it. Sure.
Don't want to talk.
No, I got an owl. Really? I'll be darned.
That was bad,
Supposed to be good luck. There you go. Your fortunes are coming. Better hurry.
It's all good. Yeah, it's mostly.
Jack James.
There's nothing wrong with
That was your job, James.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm late.
Good morning, Stephen and Rick, can you hear us? We just now have to fix it to hear you. Saban, can you say something?
Yes, testing, 1, 2.
You're good.
Okay.
Morning, Saban, Rick. We're still waiting on a few more people to show up.
Sounds good.
Rick Walker.
Got anybody else coming? Anybody got anybody else coming?
If it's on the agenda at 9:30, though,
Probably better wait till 9:30.
might have, members from the public show up, I don't know.
And Alex. Okay, two more.
Two more? That'll give everybody enough time to get the paperwork done.
Did Richard say did you ever see?
Saban, we know the real reason you're not here. You stayed up too late watching the Chiefs game.
That's probably like the rest of you too. so,
Yes. You shouldn't have, but we did. I did anyway.
Yeah.
I come out up and drive,
It wasn't gonna be good, yeah. It wasn't gonna be good. Hey, Chris.
Send that on down the line.
How many more you got? One more.
So, another chair?
Can we get a chair out of Angie's office?
Do you mind if we grab one in your office?
I think Chris wants to steal one, and he's probably gonna steal one too. Are you heading this, Bobby?
I'll just introduce the discussion.
Where do you get possible?
How you been doing? Thank you, sir.
Does Strick and Saban have these?
Yes, they do. They have them electronically.
Okay.
Rick Saban, I handed out the volumetric sheets that I sent you guys last Friday, so the group has them.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
Use that 1 minute long, now they got 4.
I know it. You hear a pen drop. I think the best way to start the meeting at 9:30 is somebody's gonna speak, stand up, state your name. You're gonna speak. Try to keep it as organized as we can. So, no throwing of chairs, hats, knives, telephones.
You guys must have interesting meetings in there.
Sometimes they get interested. I've had one.
Yeah. We didn't run them through security down there, though, did we?
No, we should have.
Yeah.
We got a little security here in front of us.
Are you
Waiting for that copter.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sure it'll go very good.
I got the hammer. Hammer. Scares you, doesn't it? I'll probably wind up hitting my phone. That's normally what I do with the hammer.
You hit yourself in the head with them.
Yeah. Are we close enough, boss?
I think so. I don't think we can get anybody else in here.
By the time Bobby gets up, oh, I just lost it. There we are. 9:30, Rural Water 3 discussion to provide service to Beto Industrial Park KSMC project. Mr. Skipper is here to kick the meeting off.
On the tails of last week's commission discussion regarding forward movement with possible pieces of the project, there's been a lot of discussion headed up by our Carl Lee in regards to how where we stood with water and how to get water to the project. He's had discussions with multiple parties, but not all. There's some discussion today to be had with Rural Water 3, Wholesale 12, and the City of Burlington. They all work together. Rural Water 3 is the retailer of the water at that project, and the suppliers are going to be Wholesale 12 and City of Burlington, who are represented here. And we could start the discussion from either angle. Carl, you could start it, or Rural Water 3 could talk about what you've done to date to prepare for the project. I think everybody's had some preparation for this project. Still a lot of questions, but some of those answers are had today.
I'll jump up and start it real quick. I handed out a volumetric chart of what we project will be the water need up there. Bobby and I has finally got some terminology worked out between us to where we can include these numbers down a little bit tighter. Predominantly the information was retrieved from some KDHE documents. So these numbers are the best numbers we have for the moment for the projected project and the population increase, possibly in Coffee County and the area. These numbers have changed over time, but I've had the basic philosophy of until we know the volume of water that's going to be needed, it's hard to describe what we're going to need or figure out what we need for a distribution system. So this is our best guess at the moment.
How did you arrive at those numbers, Carl?
These came from wastewater numbers that was submitted to possible water need to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment as part of the wastewater project. So each of the numbers where the companies are at, that's documented on KDHE documentation for their wastewater needs or what the potential would be. So that's about as good as I can get for the moment. Earlier, when I used to show up, those are projected needs I used to get from the industry. Over time, they've realized what the cost of water would be if they was using nothing but fresh water every day of the week versus recycling water. The industries right now are committed to doing what they call zero discharge. And what that would be is that they're going to recycle as much as that water as possible. The latest technology out there is that they'll probably be in the neighborhood of somewhere 85 to 90% recycling their water. That's just projected. So it's changed the volumetric numbers of what we're going to need a lot, because we started out at 8 million, took it to 6, and then took it down to 2, and now we're down to just under 1. And a lot of that's due to what the industry's going to do.
Carl, you have a grand total of 894,000, roughly 900,000 gallons a day. Is that, does that include overage for anticipated population growth?
There's overage built into these numbers through like 75 gallons per day. There's some overage built into that, and that's an EPA number, 15 gallons per day. Due to the employees populated there, that's an EPA number, and there's a slight bit of overage built into that. And if you look down at the bottom of the column, I've talked it over Saban and Rick. We put in a 0.25 overage, so that total that comes out at 715. That's take that times 0.25, and that builds some overage into it. I know that we're probably not going to count everything, but those are always some common rules of thumbs that I've used with engineers over time. Questions?
You know, Carl, you talked about overage, can't pronounce the word, involved in this. You know, we've got lots of unknown out there, how much this thing's gonna expand.
Oh, I agree.
5 years, 8 years, 10 years, whatever maybe. What's wrong with having quite a bit of overage in it?
Say that again?
What's wrong with having quite a bit of overage in it?
It's just that the Kansas Water Office may dispute it with us.
Okay.
It's nothing
As long
wrong
as
with
the
putting it in
people
there.
let you do it, why would it be an issue?
They accepted when we've talked to Kansas Water Office in the past, as 0.25 being that number. They thought that they was adequate, but we can change that to any number we want, and then if they ask us to change it again, we can. We could take it back or increase it up. That was something that was negotiable about it when we met with the Kansas Water Office. When I said Kansas Water Office, that would be the chief engineer and his staff. Because like I put down there in the last paragraph, if they put in a truck wash up at Beadle, that's going to change things drastically, or Jesse puts one in for night trucking. I mean,
Nope, not happening.
so anyway.
Between all the Rural Water 3, Wholesale 12, the City of Burlington, do we have 894,000 gallons that we could?
I would ask everybody to look at the second page. That tells you what the water rights are. So So there's a water marketing contract, which is what Public Wholesale 12 has. We pull water directly off the Melbourne Lake. And then the city of Burlington has what they call water rights. And the water rights come directly off the Neosho River. The water marketing contract is water volume that the Kansas Water Office has purchased from the Corps of Engineers in the lake.
So the Merzine basins, of course, the wholesale.
Right. Neosho Basin's basically Burlington. And if I was to throw a street out, anybody can correct me on that, but 23rd or 24th Road, there's a big hill. And that kind of divides off where the basins are. I'm not gonna say it's exact.
Right.
Do the water districts and wholesalers agree with those numbers?
Well, that's the contract amount that Wholesale 12 has with the state, but we're not able to produce that kind of water. We're already
Right,
pretty well
production
Right.
is one thing and supply is another, right?
But the
That is
entire
pretty-
time when we've had the conversation with them, we knew that you got what comes out of the water plant, and then there's the mains, and then you got the possibility of what you can pull out of the lake. I've based all my decisions based on the volume of water that you can get out of either the river or the lake.
So to answer the question though, being realistic, today, how can we get 94,000 gallons to that project?
This is why we have engineers. That's beyond me.
Everybody looks at the saving up there.
Well, I mean, it's a collection of engineering that's got to take place.
Right.
Because over time, I've met with different people along the way, describing how we needed to have more engineering to discover what's in the distribution systems of what can be done and not done. If we reflect back in May, when we had the public hearing for the zoning up there, we had residents who's definitely worried about their water pressure. And we talked, I didn't say extensively on what it would be, but we made mention in that meeting at that time, we needed engineering studies from all three groups, meaning City of Burlington to RWD3 and Public Wholesale, so we can deliver the water, not only to the industry, but the ratepayers. Because to me, it's still in the puzzle as to how we service the ratepayers is the most important part of the question. Or the citizens, however you want to label them.
Saban and Rick, have you guys had any discussions with the different parties? And where are you at on interfacing with the different parties on creating a solution or moving forward with a water study?
All right, so this is Rick Walker. We have had a number of discussions with Rural Freeze Engineer, PEC, about a comprehensive study of their distribution system and then their sources of water. So what we have proposed that needs to happen is a master plan of the Rural 3 water district that would answer a number of questions. First of all, it would answer what upgrades would need to be made into the distribution system to effectively distribute water throughout their entire network, including the KSMC site. So what additional piping capacities they need to add, what storage facilities they would need to add to effectively distribute the water. And then on the other side of that, then we have also asked them to include in that scope what increases, what modifications, what improvements might be needed to the Wholesale 12 supply capacity through plan upgrades and to the Burlington water production facility through upgrades to be able to deliver the water demand that's needed. So it's a three-phase study that looks at distribution and supply.
How much does that study cost, and where are we at on that?
So we are working on an application for a grant to fund that study. It's roughly a $145,000 study. The Kansas Water Office currently has a call for projects under technical, they call it Technical Assistance Fund grant. And this project would qualify under that. So I've talked to Rural 3's engineer about having this project presented for funding under that. They're in agreement that that would be an appropriate source to try and get this project funded. The funding, or the application deadline is December 29th, and then decision points are shortly after the first of the year. So that would, if successfully awarded, that would allow this project to get started February 1, thereabouts.
I lost my train of thought, Rick. Sorry.
How long does it take to do the study? I mean, is it
it will take basically the rest of 2024. It's essentially a 10-month delivery schedule. There'll be phases, so interim submittals, and it's, we'll have some preliminary information by early summer, and then the two treatment plant pieces are going to take a little bit longer, and they're going to follow with the final completion targeted, assuming that my February start holds by the end of December 2024.
Will you elaborate on treatment plants? Are you speaking of 12's treatment plant in City of Burlington?
Yeah, so the study's going to look at each of those plants in terms of their current capacity, and then what potential upgrades might be needed to be made to meet the additional demand that would happen, that the Rural 3 would have. So the project would identify scope and costs for plant upgrades that could be required at Public Wholesale 12, whether that might be additional, basically a parallel plant or additional clarifiers or whatever it might be, and then the same thing would happen at the Burlington water production facility. Just an analysis of what they have online now, what improvements or additional pieces of equipment they would need to add to meet the future demand. And I'm going to back up. I was working on 2 grant applications. I misspoke on the timeline. This is roughly a 7-month schedule, so 7 to 8 months. So I'm sorry, I misspoke on that. So assuming we start in February, we're looking at being done in October.
So it's my understanding, Wholesale 12, Craig Ellis, is you guys got your own engineers for your plant?
Yes.
You got your own person that knows your water system other than yourself?
We used to have PEC, now we got Midwest Engineering Ben is with us, and they've offered to do a preliminary study for $60,000 for us.
Right.
For
Well, and I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel with your guys' system with somebody else that's gonna prolong the final result.
No.
So if it's so to be, maybe it could be, the Neosho River Basin does this study, Wholesale 12 does their own or an assisted study with another firm to get the results. I mean, I don't feel it'd be wise to throw Rick Walker into Wholesale 12 that knows nothing about it, when they already know, Wholesale 12 knows what they have, and have their own engineer.
One meeting night, Rick and I's been up there and walked through the plant with them, so he's familiar with their setup and knows what's going on with them up there. And Danny Coltrane, is part of Midwest Engineering, also has drawings from other projects that he can contribute into it. So we just need the meeting in the minds to draw everybody. We can draw that down closer once we have people meet. That was the whole idea of it.
Okay.
We didn't have funding secured for any of this, so I didn't bring people together because engineers want to be paid for their time.
Right.
To your point, Commissioner, I would agree, and a combined, if we wanted to plug in Midwest Engineering to deliver that Wholesale 12 part of that project, I don't think that'd be a problem at all. That would be actually quite logical to have them continue on once, we get some, share the information that we've got from the flow projections, the needs, and can have that, first piece done, then get them on board to do the plant upgrade study that would be able to deliver that water, so that makes a lot of sense.
Add on to Rick, Midwest Engineering's reached out to me a number of different times, because I've met with Public Wholesale 12 over the last 9 months, just saying, hold on, we'll bring everybody together when it's necessary. Because it's a discussion needs to happen between all parties, but we gotta agree on, numbers and how we're gonna get the engineering done. So Midwest is well aware of everything that's going on, just, we haven't brought the meeting of the minds together.
Would this shorten up if Midwest did the north, say the wholesale, and Rick did the south? Would that put the puzzle pieces together faster?
I'll defer that to Rick and
That'd
say
be
to
Rick,
their,
yeah, be their question.
And then the other question on top of that would be, how does it affect the application for the grant?
So I'll do the schedule piece. I don't, there's the, like the baseline planning that we need to get done with respect to, growth in demand and, the demand calculations. So there's a certain level of work that has to be done before we would, turn wholesale or the engineers loose on the plant design, but that would allow, at least that second phase that I was referring to happen concurrently and could conceivably reduce that schedule on the back half of the project.
The city of Burlington has its own engineer as well.
As does Rule 3, we've got Alex at PEC here, so we've got several more engineering groups to be involved in this conversation, guys.
Yeah, and so I'm going to clarify. We're planning the PEC because the application was going through anticipation, and my understanding with Alex Darby with PEC is that I'm planning on them to be the engineering firm to deliver the study. They also had said they had done work with Burlington in the past, and were somewhat familiar with that plant and their system, but they did say they weren't the current engineer of record for Burlington.
It's Wholesale 12, not Burlington.
Well, let's go a little bit further, and then benefit of the commission. I mean, we're trying to achieve a result, and there's multiple parties. Everybody's trying to work together. Would it be safe to say PEC is willing to do what it takes to bring in all preferred engineering firms into the study? I know we're already capped at an amount of money that we're going after for this grant. I'm not saying the parties might not be amenable to raising that if necessary, just so it makes sense fiscally for all the firms to participate. What do you say?
So I guess the original, so Alex started with PEC. So the original discussion with Rick was, PEC has experience with the Wholesale 12 facility as well as their distribution system, extensive experience with Coffee 3, and then the other plan was with the city of Burlington. Our understanding is there is no hydraulic model of their city system. In discussions with Rick, would that PEC has staff and capability to do an evaluation of each of those facilities, to then see what capacity there is there efficiencies that can be found, to then be able to get the amount of flow which was a much larger number than this right here when we originally put the scope together. So this seems much more achievable without huge capital increases or inputs. So that was what our original thought was, that PEC staff would do that. Again, not trying to take over anybody or trying to steamroll anybody, but just for efficiency on our part, just to look at those facilities and those distribution systems and moving water from the north into Coffee 3 and from the south into Coffee 3 to ultimately get it to the new facilities, as well as to serve any additional residential type growth, and limited commercial throughout Coffee Tree's district as well. So that was kind of the original thought on how we had put this study together for Rick. So that, I guess that is where we were prior to today in finding out about the thing.
Well, for me, I've got no qualms with each entity that's comfortable with their own engineer, but I think for the commission standpoint, or so that it doesn't get confusing, if you will, that we have a point of contact for you guys, whether it be Cook Flat or, so that we're not hearing from 3 different firms and then yada, 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 and then everybody's confused. The only thing I see is that in this, projected numbers do not include any possible economic development in Waverly, Lebo, or the areas surrounding the KSMC project. The examples are future development, could be hotels, restaurants, truck washes, yada, yada, yada. But when you go through the numbers, looks like to me the Marazine Basin falls just short of what's needed for KSMC anyway. So it's gonna take a group effort between 12 and Burlington to meet that need, but yet I'm curious as to what somebody thinks maybe if you add in motels, restaurants, and truck washes, what that might equate to.
I don't know what the expansion number would be. There's EPA numbers for that, so if we knew what was coming in, like a 100-bed hotel, and we could go get into that. And engineers all have that information. But as far as the water marketing contract, when we talked to the Kansas Water Office, there's still rights within the lake or marketing contract gallons available in the lake. So how much, they won't tell you. It's always what I've explained to you guys. They have a magic formula. They work within that magic formula. And they don't tell you what's left in any basin or any lake. So what it would mean is that Midwest Engineering and Pelican Sub 12 could go back to the Kansas Water Office and ask for an increase in their water marketing. And then, depending on what their magic formula tells them, was how much they would give them. And that's a held secret by the water office, because they don't want everybody to know what water is available or not available. All I can tell you is when we started this project in our first meeting with the Kansas Water Office, they was just like, stay within the Marazine Valley if you can, because the Neosho River Basin is very, very, very tight on water rights. They said there is water available within that basin.
Well, I say all that, what I said, just because I don't want the future commissioners, if you will, 10 years, 20 years down the road to go, but we can't do anything here now, all the water's gone.
It's a water problem.
You got a water problem.
Can't build it for today.
I wanna look decades down the road if possible.
My personal philosophy is that, we have a primary that we're looking at, and then we have the secondary to back it up, because we don't ever want to leave this without a secondary source to push water up if there's a catastrophic water break, or if there's something catastrophic that happens at a water plant. Then you got the means to move water around, whether it's Coffee 3 or the city, or up into the cities if they need that up there at Waverly and Lebo. So both of them need to be done. The whole project needs to be completed if we're going to serve all the citizens of Coffee County.
When you say both projects, what are you talking about?
I look at it as two. City of Burlington doing the engineering study to connect it so it could always back up no matter what happens up north. And then you have the primary project would be Public Wholesale 12. But I'm not an engineer where I can forecast what the distribution numbers need to be, the distribution system should be. And we haven't even talked about Southern Coffee County. There's water pressure issues down in Southern Coffee County that we also have to think about. That could be a step forward to Rick's process too. At some point in time, we look at that.
I know here a while back, they looked at, water, not water meters, but, fire hydrants in southwest Coffee County. I thought they did a little bit of a study. David, did you do a study on for the fire department?
We did get some, we didn't get the green light to do the study, actually. We gathered some information. We met with all the fire districts, and they kind of showed us all their maps that we, at the time, we didn't get the green light to move forward with the study.
Okay.
And so as Carl and Rick and I have been working on this issue, that's kind of why we also thought, secondarily, these water studies have some benefit over time for the rest of the county as well, because those needs were brought to our attention.
Well, it's a great time to do it while we're doing all this, and we're looking at the city of Burlington's water plan also, then we can also look at the rest of the county. And how this affects the fire hydrants, it can affect our, is it the ISO rating? Am I using the right terminology? For that, for the entire county. Not only that, that helped Chief Brown out with all of his fire districts also. And then it was brought up again in last month's zoning meeting about where are we at with seeing what the southern half of Coffee County needs for water pressure, because that news always has a way of traveling when they hear that somebody's going to talk about water.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when I came back about a month ago, I was asking for a multi-phase plan. We've got this together now. We got all the groups here.
Here's where we're at.
Yeah.
Well, I get, how do we proceed forward, Saban or Bobby or whoever? We wait on the grants?
Sorry,
Do we wait on the grants?
I was just gonna say, yeah, sorry about that. I think with the grant application out there, I think the goal of submitting for those was to, I'll say, relieve some of the burden on the county for, funding this work right away. If we're talking about getting word, as Rick said, here in the next month and a half, let's say from the Kansas Water Office, then we can greenlight this in February. I would think we would want to wait for those funds to come forward. It benefits everybody. It benefits the county. It benefits the water districts from a financial standpoint. So that's what I thought. And then the only other comment I was going to offer was when the Commissioner Huguenin mentioned, I think all along, because as Rick and Carl have been working with the different water districts, we at CFS expected that probably our role is maybe more of the point of contact, or I'll call it the project manager, that these engineering firms who know those plants, let them go get the work done. They'll probably proceed faster because they're familiar with the facilities. And then anyway, we can be your point of contact for the progress of the study.
The three main cities south of Coffee County, Iowa, and Chanute, and Humboldt, and others down south, is the Kansas Water Board going to be a little hesitant to make a major contribution here when they don't know exactly what may need to be done south?
Carl may be able to chime in too on this, but in the few meetings we had with Kansas Water Office, all I can say is that the good news is our usage numbers from the KSMC site having gone down is a benefit, because when we first met with the Kansas Water Office, the numbers that we were given were astronomical. And that's what raised the Kansas Water Office concerns about drawing from the Neosho Basin was exactly your point, Commissioner, that there are needs south of Burlington that come out of the basin, Neosho Basin. So now that we are talking about lower numbers, I think it's still a discussion that we would have to have with the Water Office, but eventually, ultimately, they'll be the ones to weigh in about where they believe the rights should come from. Carl, did I state that?
Pretty close. How they phrase it to us is the Maritime is a much less political basin than what the Neosho River Valley Basin is, and that there's big applications coming in the near future to the Water Office.
There appears to be more water.
Out of the Neosho.
Out of the Neosho. I want to make sure and emphasize Neosho. There's people, big users, that's looking at additional allocation, including one from the Coffee County area. I don't know if they've been submitted, but it's just, that's the rumor, that's the talk. And they just make sure to emphasize the point of the Neosho Basin is a highly political basin with a lot of activity and only a little bit of water. Basically what they had told us was
Yeah, I
that
think
the only two lakes left that's got anything in it is Council Grove and Marion. That basically Redmond, that availability capacity is at its maximum now, so that where they have to manage it for the emergency levels, for the emergency situations.
All I was gonna add is, I think, the point though is the study, because our volume numbers have come down, the study will allow us to have a more detailed discussion with the Kansas Water Office specific to where eventually these rights will come from, whether it's Neosho or Maria Stream. So, that's the reason we've been talking about the study and the need for the study for a while.
Did that answer your question, Mr. Don?
I think, the Youngstown River Basin, to my understanding, their resources of water's not real high, is what I've understood. I just wondered, the cities down south's gonna be fighting for water, if they aren't already. Is it being looked at and holding this project back a little, or will it hold this project back?
The Kansas Water Office believes in first and right, so whoever makes the application first, but they're gonna look at the whole basin.
So they look at this application before maybe not knowing what's coming in from down south?
Right. They will look at the first applications in, but I can't emphasize the point enough, they just looked at us with a firm face and just said, the Neosho Basin is very tight because it goes all the way to the Oklahoma border. And there's people who need that water down there, and they have to look at, through their magic formula, how they're gonna allocate that water.
And I'll emphasize what Carl said too, but their point in that discussion was, the sooner you get your application in, the better, because it is kind of a first come, first served analysis. Yeah, it can get political south of you guys, but the sooner we get the study work done and get an application in for the true water rights, the better off Coffee County will be.
And I want to emphasize the point, they've been great to work with. When the two times we've met with them, it was great questions, great interaction, offering us solutions to what we had going on. It was not that it was being a pain to us. They provided us good information, and it was on an equal basis.
Carl, it sounds like we got 3 highly qualified engineering firms. Do we need to select one for the lead?
Saban and Rick can do all that. We just need to have that communication tree of who's going to be the point of contact for the information.
To the commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not qualified to do that.
So if I can just interject, so James Higgins off Low Water Creek. It just seems like this has been quite a mess for months now, really, on who's doing what, and left hand doesn't know what right hand. But, so I think it has to start at the distribution center, which I've said for a long time, the distributor, which is us. And everybody's been going to the manufacturer on the other side and saying, hey, can you provide this water? Well, PC's our point of contact that says, and you guys have the entities that are being built that says we need this much water. They come to us, we go out to those manufacturer suppliers and say, hey, can you provide this? But it's been going, the supplier says they can provide this, and we've kind of, Rural Water Free's kind of been out of the loop for a long time. PECs, we've been working with them, and they have some studies, but I really think Rick and those guys, they could certainly do that, but PEC really needs to be the contact in how much we gotta get out there, so
I want to be really clear. When we started this first project, we started out at 8 million gallons a day. There wasn't enough water rights in both basins put together to do that, and that's why we started with the source. And that way, we could have the appropriate people go to the Kansas Water Office to go get the water so there would be volume available, whether it's PEC or Midwest Engineering. And it's multiplied over time. We agreed that the entire time that engineers should be involved in along all the way, but somehow we lacked in getting the money requested from the commissioners.
But now that it's moved from there quite some time ago, it really has never moved into distribution. So.
Johnny Matlock, President of Rural Water 3. What James is basically, I'll reinforce what James is saying. we've been sitting here picking up gossip, not knowing a little bit of information from Alex because he's attended some of the other engineering meetings from PUC. We're sitting here going, well, is anything happening? Is Rural Water 12 going to get updated? Or how much water are we going to have to handle? We've been sitting in the dark, not knowing what's going on. We just need some information, guys, because we've got a board like you do.
If we would've started this 12 months ago, I don't think we'd be any closer to where we're at right now.
So, Jesse.
I mean, just quite honest with you all. I mean, with the amount of numbers that was thrown at us at the beginning of this, hundreds of thousands, millions of gallons of water a year, where are you gonna start? You can't start at your distributor, just like, I mean, it's beyond the distributor. You gotta go to the horse's mouth and see if you can get the feed in it first. And then it goes to the distributors, you know, so, and Carl, I commend Carl for the work that he's put into this, and Bobby, and Saban and everybody, but yes, it is time that we start pulling this together. We've had the chatter outside, now we've got the water study, you know, that there's supposedly some money that can be brought in for a water study. I don't know that we have time for a water study. If it rolls in January 1st, the government, that's not gonna happen. Say February 1st, they give the green light, award the money for the CHIPS Act deal. You got 30 months to produce a chip. We don't have 8 months for the study. I mean, that's just plain and simple.
We're just asking for information as things occur, guys.
Right.
We've been kind of kept in the dark, honestly, guys.
Well,
I sympathize with you on that, because actually, if you ask any one of us, we're kind of in the same boat.
Okay, I'm with you.
We're all rowing in the same boat here right now.
If there's
I promise you
information
that.
breaks loose, we'd like to have it from you guys, you know, from your representative. He's welcome to our board meeting anytime he wants to get on the agenda.
Like I say, there's been, up till right now, all you all sitting here has been speculation on everybody's part, I believe.
Yep.
So, I think it's great that we're having this conversation now.
Agreed.
And, so again, I do not mind each entity, they're comfortable with our own engineering firm, do that. I still say we need a point of contact for the commission so that we'll have everybody, that person has all the information needed to present to us so that, and then actually keep you informed at the same time. And I agree with Jesse, I'm not sure, I mean, we probably gotta do this study, but I'm not sure we need to be sitting on our hands waiting for an application either.
that's a choice we're gonna have to make as a board to release the money for a study, you know.
Rick,
And that's probably 145,000, is that right?
Well, I mean,
Well, that's
Rick,
with Rick.
is this, I didn't read it myself, is this reimbursable? We're gonna front the money and get reimbursed from KWO, or?
Boy, Bobby, I have to verify that. I didn't, I was, plugged into getting all the information together. I didn't look at the, how it actually operates, so let's see if I can get that real quick.
While you're looking that up, we also, because we were just, had to get this in, it's like, we didn't find out about it until just a few weeks ago, but, we anticipate coming back to each of the water districts and asking for a few $1,000s to cover the match we put up, or obligated to. We obligated to $40,000, because we wanted to play to win. And, I've already spoken with one of the water districts, we got some of it covered, but, and I hadn't asked the commission yet to cover any of it. I'm just saying, that's where we sit with the grant.
well, I mean, I know before all this stuff come about, there's been chatter in the southwest of Waverly, along the New Strawn area, that there's been water pressure issues for several months, maybe years, and I don't know if they've been checked out, and verified if there is actually a problem or not. So, yeah, I do know there's been issues in the past with that area. I would say right at the moment, what they say the grant was, 140,000. So basically, it's 100. How much is the grant?
That was covered all.
145.
145.
That was covered Burlington's plant, Rural Water 12's plant, Rural Water 3, do the complete study, so.
Is that what it's
each
gonna
Each
cost?
of them's got their own.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that was gonna be their fee for them to go to each.
oh,
I
okay.
assumed that, anyway.
Yeah,
So now we have.
that was based on PEC doing all of that effort, so.
Oh, I see, okay.
And the one number I've heard is significantly higher than the number we had plugged in for that.
I've got to get that last spring.
So now I'm confused again.
So the 145 is based on PEC working with Coffee 3, Wholesale 12, and the city of Burlington to look at the distribution system and the treatment facilities, just with PEC staff. If you bring in those other engineers, we'll have to get a fee from them to do that work. And it sounds like Wholesale 12 is $60,000, and we did not have $60,000 in our contract for that Wholesale 12 piece. So that fee is gonna go up. And I don't know what City of Burlington's engineer would cost, so
Okay.
potentially
So-
$250 now.
PEC covers what entity? Rural Water?
PEC, we did a significant amount of work for Wholesale 12, we still have their distribution model, and we are the engineer for Coffee 3. So we have relationships with both of them.
3 and 12.
Three and-
And Stan, who's your engineer firm?
Well, right now, it's between Bartlett and West because they did the renovation in the plant a few years ago. But we're also working with Schwab Eaton.
So who's the most familiar with your plant?
The engineer at Schwab Eaton used to be with Bartlett and West.
I see. So it sounds like, I don't know, it's their plant. I mean, we, I guess, need blessing from Burlington for PEC or Cook Flat, or do you rather your engineering firm do your
I
own?
think it would be a lot faster if we kept the engineer that we're currently have on staff to do the project for us.
To do the study?
Yeah.
So do we need to be estimated fee to cover that 145? Is that where we're headed with this, right?
So I think what we need to do is we need to take a step back, and I can, working with Rick, I can reach out to Schwab Eaton and Mid-Kansas and figure out what that looks like for them to do their pieces, and figure out what that division of scope would actually look like. And get fees, and then get an updated cost to Rick.
Right. And to be clear, we haven't submitted the application yet, so we can adjust the ask that we are plugging into that grant application, and we would also then update, probably to include participation between Burlington and Wholesale 12, that might give strength to the application that it's a combined cooperative effort to deliver this project. So I think that would also benefit. And then back to Bobby's question, it is a reimbursement grant, and so you'll have to submit invoices after you've paid them, and it does exclude any work that's done prior to the issuance or the award of the grant.
So there's only one applicant in the eyes of Kansas Water Office. There's no possibility that the county or a combination of us can segment this grant. So the single source applicant and the benefactor on paper is going to be Rural Water 3, while other firms and other entities may get their own pieces. Rural Water 3 is going to front this. You're going to pay money and get reimbursed.
Certainly that would have to be a board decision, so,
Or you can talk with the commissioners.
We're nice guys.
Or could Coffee County be the applicant?
Not on
Coffee
paper.
County can't be the applicant. On paper?
You can work with the water entity if they need help. That's why I'm getting with that.
But once the numbers have gotten, then the application for the grant can be increased, is that correct? So, so what we need is the numbers of the three entities, is that correct?
Right.
And then they could resubmit their application for the grant.
Yeah. So I can work with the other two engineers and get their update, their scope and fee, and get that incorporated into what I would get to Rick for him to use in the application.
All I can say is people better tighten up their belt a little bit.
That being said, then if that were to happen with the three entities, with the three different firms, would that speed up the process then? I mean, each one of you know your own district, so would that speed up the process from that 7 months, I guess? I think that was the number that was used to take. I mean, would that speed the process up?
It could potentially. We had not assumed that we were stacking each one end to end as far as the work. Like, it was all gonna happen kind of at the same time throughout the different pieces of PEC, so there could be a little bit of time savings, but we're not gonna go from 7 months to 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be crazy to think it would be done in 2 months. But
Right.
No, I was just curious if there was.
5 months possibly.
Yeah.
You just gotta make sure it don't go to 9 or 10.
Right.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're getting in that 9, 10, and 12, it's gonna cramp, it could possibly cramp things a little bit.
Yeah.
There is gonna be a project up there, regardless of the federal funding. It's just the size of the project. There will be a project there.
How many total dollars is gonna be requested in this grant?
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
But 140-some thousand was mentioned early.
Correct.
145.
I'm sorry?
145.
That was for PEC to do the whole package
100%
deal.
of it.
That was the initial number that got kicked out early, it was 145K.
It makes sense to me. I mean, the project can sort 913, and so I don't want to say that PCs they're our engineer, but it makes sense that they do have some knowledge already in there to have them get the project done. I mean, we're just gonna stepping over, we're gonna have lots of time involved in this if we don't get moving, and so certainly what I would make a recommendation.
I'm fine with whatever everybody else is comfortable with, but I've said this several times that, well, Jesse mentioned that up there, there's a project gonna happen regardless of federal funding, and I'm not naive enough to think that Coffee County's gonna get out of this without spending, get 100% reimbursement for every dime we spend. It's not gonna happen, nor is it probably gonna happen for the water distribution people. But in the end, you're gonna be selling water, you're gonna be making money off it. I'm assuming you're not a break-even type of entity where, I'm probably gonna word it wrong. I'm grasping for terminology, but again, nobody's probably gonna get out of this without spending a single dime and getting 100% total reimbursement, so.
Well,
I mean, we're willing to do what we can,
so we've been kind of picking up chatter, like you mentioned earlier, just hearing from the sides, and we don't really, we want to know where to aim before we pull the trigger.
But you would know what we would request and know whether you could supply that or not without any upgrades to your plant or whatever, right? So you would know that now or soon within, your engineers probably know that now.
I have right here, how much water we use every month. Our lowest, we got about a 1.1 million gallon a day plant, and that pushes us hard to do 1.1 million out. And last year in February, we averaged 600,000 gallons a day of water out of our plant. And our highest usage was last June and July, we averaged about 920,000 gallons a day out of our plant. So, And we had 13 days in July, August, and September where we were completely maxed out. We couldn't do any more. Our pumps ran 24 hours a day. So right now, we could maybe supply another 150,000 a day with our third plant for 6 months a year.
But it couldn't be
That's just for the
guaranteed
chip
that-
factory, not counting the people that move into the area.
Yeah,
If
that
we'd had
amount couldn't
1,000
be
more people in our area
guaranteed.
this summer, we would have kept up.
Yeah, there's no way to, it's hard to forecast.
I mean, it may not be, this was the busiest year we've ever had
Mhm.
since I've been here for 20 years. But,
It was a dry year, I
Yeah,
can tell you that.
yeah, and it may not happen for 10 years, it might happen next year.
Right, right. Got something?
Care if I share a little bit?
Go ahead.
This is that. I'm from the education world, so I like to summarize things into some key points. But I'm Ben Coltrane with Midwest Engineering here on behalf of Also 12. And we've been chatting with them for quite a long time because they are at capacity. One of Craig's made a recommendation to do a time change every single day so that he can get another hour a day. You can't run more than 24 hours a day, your plant. Appreciate that, but they are at capacity. So first key piece is that you have a huge opportunity here, and it's awesome it's in this room, it's Lyon County. Also 12 will be coming with needs to upgrade their plant at some point. Okay, that's a fact. You have an opportunity here to combine it with lots of other pieces so that Coffee 3, so that Coffee County is not the sole burden of all of that. As you said, also 12, they have a huge district to apply that to. And as you mentioned before, there are a lot of things. Number one is your water treatment plant gain capacity. If you don't get water, you can't have this conversation. Number two is your distribution, and you have some things there. So it's just a really, really beautiful time. You get to have this conversation with this economic development instead of it's just your county residents that are going to bear the burden of that cost. And that's why they haven't come with this yet. To do those distribution improvements, to add a water plant, however that looks, it's a huge cost, and your rate will increase. So it's a nice opportunity to combine economic development with your residents and keep that rate at a very small level. So that's one key piece, not to forget, is that as a supplier, they do that. And going with that is, as you said, with Coffee County, 3 was the plant. So they are the ones who get decided. That's why it's awesome we're all here in that room. So that study needs to come together with who those plants want, who those boards want to build a plant and how they do that. And I had a third one in there, but I lost it. It'll come back to me. But it's just an incredible opportunity to do this, have that discussion. And so probably the third one is we've had this conversation before. Again, $60,000, you can talk about that supplier and go out and do all of those things. Followed up with, typically, if Wholesale 12 does it, they have to go after funding. Typically, they can't get that on their own, so that's going to grants, other areas to do that. Those funds are rare. They are competitive. That's one of the things that we do at Midwest, is really help these small towns and small rural districts to find those funds and how to get them. Here you have an opportunity to do it. So back to just to share this, if you have funds, you don't have to do parts of the report. You don't have to seek funding. You can cut a year out of your time there. If you get that CHIP grant, you say this is going to go to the economic development infrastructure, and you're done. So that's another key piece inside of there, is to know where those funds come from.
Thank you. Well, I've spoke with Craig several times, you know, on the phone and on the street, but, you know, my thing was, you know, Coffee County needs this water. Coffee County has you all build another plant. Then you can sell the water to Franklin County, Anderson County, wherever you wanna sell it. But it's the funds that come from this development that built that plant. So, do we designate, say it's $15 million to build you a new plant? Are you gonna sell that water to Franklin County and Anderson County and
This is why we had a discussion.
and Douglas County? Or is it just Coffee County water? You know, that's where I'm at. I mean, can it be discounted to the Coffee County residents?
The entire 14 months I've met with Public Wholesale 12 being the source, and they have available water rights to get the water. They've never once mentioned to me they want a free ride out of this.
Mhm.
They just want to know what their portion's going to be, where they can pass it on. We had that discussion back when his brother was talking about the Midwest Engineering was discussing that. And until we have everything cornered and in place, we couldn't bring the pieces and the people together. Nobody's been in on the number of red-faced conversations Bobby and I have trying to sort numbers. Because it makes it hard because people want to know what's going on. And if nothing's changed, or we don't know who's going to build, or how much money's going to be spent where, that's why some of the information hasn't leaked out. And I don't think I've denied anybody who wanted a meeting. It called and asked me, or contacted me.
Well, there's where we're in the dark too, commission as a whole, because other than these puzzle pieces we're talking about here, there's a multitude of others that come into play. I mean, along with stuff, I mean, as far as CID districts, to TIF districts, to this, to what, all kinds of districts to help fund everything we're talking about, and then some. So, it's a very big puzzle that hasn't fell together yet.
So if I understand this list that Carl give out is the water that's gonna be required.
Yes.
Projected.
Projected water required.
Just for that.
And who's that water required to come from? Or delivered?
There's no requirement.
Well, I mean, it would be Coffee 3.
You're the distributor.
That's right. He's already kind of answered that question, that they can't provide any more, Wholesale 12. So we know there's a problem there. Now, can 3 deliver what is requested here? I don't know. That's probably up to Alex, and can the city of Burlington supply the other side of that? I don't know. But, I guess I'm just a little unclear. Wholesale 12 already says they can't provide any more water.
We've said that from the get-go because we knew that, but we've never been able to get the engineering fund secured to this point. From the very, very get-go, when I met Rick and Saban, we've all agreed we need to have all parties at the table, but we've never found a way to communicate it to get it funded. We've agreed on that from the get-go because we knew that there was conversations to be had to iron it all out.
Well, Wholesale 12 is a business, okay? It's a business, and they're just not the business just to supply water free, okay? It's a business to supply everybody else, just like we're Three's in business to supply residents that ask for water. We have to find out how we can do it or if we can't do it. And if Wholesale 12 is delivering that, why would we increase the cost to the Burlington or the Coffee County residents to build a water plant when it would be equally amongst everybody else? So, that makes sense.
I don't think we're asking for that.
Well, that's what we just discussed, that you'd have an increase in water rates.
True. That was just discussed, but nothing's
Didn't say it
carved-
happened, no, it didn't say that.
Nothing's carved in stone yet. And I'm gonna lose terminology again. Go ahead.
No, go to Marshall, I'll talk too much already.
Marshall Anderson, I'm at 12 and 3, and my concern is the payback once 12 puts money out for engineering, et cetera, for the cost. They're not really financially solid as what 3 is. So they're concerned about how we're gonna be reimbursed for a lot of this stuff. And that's totally unclear to me.
Well, I think there's numbers we gotta get together from each individual facility, Burlington, Coffee 3, and 12. We get those numbers compiled together, just what it's gonna cost to do this study, which is gonna cost probably way more than it should, but then us as a commission, and see what our grants can get, then we could maybe discuss covering it
To get it started.
to get it started.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest concern, is getting it started, getting it off the ground. And the way it sounds is that 12 can't supply any more water. I mean, you're at a maximum. So until they, it's gotta get started somewhere, so until they can be increased, it can't go anywhere, can it? I mean,
Until they get a plant.
until they get a plant, right.
And I would say until 12 has that plan for that, which is what that engineering report is, you won't be able to do your plan.
Right, and that's where the study comes in. That's what the study would take care of.
Gotta get the cart, gotta get the horse in front of the cart.
I would say, that I just need to be real clear. This study here that we were talking about doing is not to figure out do you need a plan or not, or what your plant's gonna look like. It's for us to figure out how Coffee County can get water for this project. And, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but from the beginning, it was a real big difference how big a plant we would be building if we needed to supply 6 million gallons a day at one location.
Is that what the original number was, 6 or 8 million?
Six, we even talked about it having pumping oil water straight to the site, because when we first started the discussion, they was gonna process and use their own water, they just needed water, that's all they wanted. And then when they realized what the cost of ultra pure water was gonna cost them, then that's when they looked into recycling, and these numbers have consistently come back off of it. Because in the first 2 meetings I had with Public Wholesale 12, we was talking about whatever the upgrade would be, plus a raw water intake. And then see that that's because of the mountain volume, and now that the industry is realizing what it takes to do business and have water in the state of Kansas, then that's what's brought these numbers consistently down. And we was even talking about, at one time, even a new intake down in Melbourne to recover water that was discharged from the wastewater treatment system until the industry figured out it wasn't feasible for them, for what would be charged. So there's been multiple changes through that. But I want to go back. We just didn't have the engineering secured from the get-go, because Rick and Saban and I have known each other 15 months. That was one common thing we agreed upon. It's never happened for whatever reason.
When are they needing the water down there? How many years?
2.5, 3 years.
2.5 to 3, yeah.
Oh, Ben here, good, it would take us, if we started right now, did a 6-month engineering study, did the design work, built a plant, it'd take us about 3 years to get a new plant on that.
Yeah, that's why time is of the essence for all of us. And so, I guess, we're talking about who's gonna pay for what. I mean, if Rural Water, the way I'm understanding it, Rural Water 3 is the applicant for this grant.
Out of necessity.
Let's get it moving, and we'll just have an agreement with Rural Water 3 that we'll, when bills come in, we'll just run the money until the grant comes in, and then you reimburse us for whatever grant money you get.
Well, you gotta get each individual engineers
True.
to give you a price of what it's gonna cost to do the grant. Correct, gentleman back there, I won't remember your name.
Alex Darby.
Alex,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll work with
So-
the other 2 entities to update that cost, correct?
So I guess you're the front man on getting the numbers from the other people.
Right.
to run this study that we need to run.
Correct.
Then you're gonna submit it back to Saban and Rick, right?
Correct.
Then Coffee 3 and Rick or Saban can come in and say, this is what we have to present to you. Am I setting the groundwork?
Yeah, or Rick could bring me in to,
Whichever.
yeah.
Or that. But I would say at this point in time, if Rural Water 3 is the applicant for the grant, if bills come in that need to be paid, we can pull it out of one of our funds, and then when you guys get the grant money, you just pay us back.
I just say we can't
Does that sound
make a
fair?
decision without a board.
Well, you take that to your board, but that's what I'm proposing.
We
How's
will,
that?
yep,
That's what I'm proposing.
yep.
Makes sense.
Mr. Stan?
Our plant right now is operating at less than 50% capacity. We're at less than 1 million gallons a day. We have capacity to serve the majority of the load with some slight modification. With the proper modifications, we can probably supply the entire requirement. It will not take us very long to put together, because we've already looked at what modifications would need to be made. So I'll get in touch with my contacts, and we'll probably have that information by Wednesday.
Will you be at max capacity then?
No,
So with the added numbers, what percentage capacity will you be at?
it's about 70%.
Do you have those water rights in place?
Yep.
I guess based off, have you seen this?
Yep.
That don't quite line up with what you're telling me.
I'm not arguing that point.
Pardon me?
I said I'm not gonna argue that point, they don't.
Okay.
I want you to know that those numbers came from Kansas Water Office themselves as far as their water rights and the water marketing contract.
Okay.
That came from the water office, and then water usage report, I got that from both the sources, Tammy Sotart up at Public Wholesale 12, and Danny Hawkins gave me the water usage. And always keep in mind, it's the water in which they pull out of the rivers what counts towards the rights. It's not what they put out through the water plant.
Correct.
So whatever they pull out of the lake and crosses that meter initially out of the intake, that's what the water office is counting.
This study will certify all that.
Okay.
The study will certify.
Okay.
Because there's always a difference between what's pulled out of the source, meaning the river or the lake, and what goes out the water plant.
Well,
You lost me. Why is
There
that?
could be wastage, they could have had.
Wastage? Is there that much wastage?
There
Or
could
could
be.
there be that much?
Washing filters, like we average 40 to 50,000 gallons a day for washing filters.
Really? Wow, I never.
Because they're using
And then
surface
we'll drink
water. Don't confuse any of this with groundwater. This is when you got surface water, you have a whole different matrix of things you gotta meet through EPA water quality standards. In order to produce good water, they gotta make sure and have optimum filterization. And Melbourne has some of the best quality water in the state, as far as a raw water source.
Good H2O.
It's been a long time since I've heard that before, So in other words, saying Burlington can take on this whole project and only move your water production up to 70% of the capacity?
I would say probably 75% of the time. The other 25% we would be, like the dead of summer last year,
Yeah.
we had 900,000 was our maximum on a day. The plant was designed for almost 3 million.
So there's design, but yet availability, and that's what I see
Well,
here.
availability is controlled by a lot of different things. One is, we'd have to change input takes, we'd have to change pumping systems, we'd have to change a series of things within the plant to get to that capacity, because it was not initially installed to meet that amount. There was potential for growth. So where we got 100 horse motor, we might have to have 125, 150, we might. VFDs have helped on that some. As far as chemicals, we need to change our flow systems, but as far as building a new plant, no.
Well, yeah, I understand the plant's capable, but the way I'm reading this, the allocation of water that you're allowed to draw won't let you do that.
The allocation,
Am I correct?
is the water, I'm not sure on the whole scenario, but as far as drawing, if we doubled last year's summer load,
My numbers are all based on what you would directly draw out of the water source. So this would be based on what they would draw right out of the river to meet the need that's on the bottom of that page. Not what your plant's producing, just what I understand there's different factors that come into play that you gotta have. I look at it as water volume, just to be able to supply the industry with what they need.
Yeah, it matters not what your plant can do, if you don't have
You
water,
have
if
to
you
go
don't
ahead
have the
and
water rights, you can't produce it. Am I
understand.
correct? So, and that's what this formula here is.
I know what that says, and in the discussions that we've had, we're not totally agreeable with that, but down the road, the engineer will verify everything.
Okay, that works.
Rick Saban, have I missed anything in all this? And explaining what the difference between what water rights and pulling it and having the volume versus what a water plant can produce?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it was covered with us, Carl, when we had the 2 meetings with the Kansas Water Office.
Wade always like to ask you if you got something you want to say, because I know you do.
Well, you know, when
Let's
that,
stick your finger in it.
So, several months ago, the attorney for 12 talked with me, so I know the concerns with 12 are that they'll need to be dealt with, and I think that my impression from speaking with the attorney for 12 was exactly I forget what your name is, but that they're at capacity, and any infrastructure modification, if it's gonna end up being tied to this project, is not gonna be put on the shoulders of their customers. It was my impression. The only other comment that I'll make is, it seems like communication needs to get better. And I think from this point forward, in my opinion, this board needs to be updated on a more regular basis with what's happening, real time, so that if you need to make decisions, you can make them, as they come along. And the last comment is, we're behind the power curve.
Well, that was my call last Monday after the meeting when I left here. I got to thinking, we're behind the ball, and I know, but you can't bring everybody in here and tell them you're gonna need this, 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 and this when you don't even know what you need.
Right.
So that, therefore, kick the can down the highway a little bit for months and months. So we know final numbers, we know what we're gonna need. Now it's time to start producing the information to get us into the projects, or to get water.
I just got one question. So the intent of 12, as of last year, I mean, you're at capacity right now, so somewhere along the line, you're going to have to expand, is that correct? So if with this project, that's going to determine how much you're going to have to expand. I'm sorry, I'm slow.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that that's,
Exactly.
okay.
The way this broke down and the way I digest it is, Burlington's water plant can produce it, but they just don't have the right amount of allocation of water.
Right.
Melbourne can't produce it, but they have the allocation of water.
Right.
So that's how that's gonna fall out. So, and I really do sympathize again, and I'm sorry, sir, but I forgot your name sitting next to it.
Johnny Matlin.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Being in the dark. To be honest with you, we have been too. And again, there's there are a lot of other things that are behind the scenes that are happening, that questions that we have in order to give you guys a better answer as to how it's gonna be paid for. Till we have answers to those questions, we can't answer yours. It's in that, about the long and the short.
There's no sense in starting a dialogue if you don't know what you're gonna ask.
But I will say this, as far as Carl Lee being active and Sabian with Cook Flat and Bobby, we were just relying on them to gather up as much information as they needed, so that when we got to the point to be able to answer some more questions, we could, but we're still, to be honest with you, we're still not there yet.
Fair enough.
Still not there yet.
But we're getting closer.
We are getting closer, some footwork, again, a lot of stuff behind the scenes,
How much water goes to coffee from wholesale 12?
Oh, 2.5 million a month.
2.5
On
million a month?
average. Some months over 3.
How much does any go from Burlington to Coffee 3?
Yes,
How much?
I would have to find that out. I don't have the answer.
It's roughly the same.
It's about 50.
Okay.
You say about the same.
And those are your only 2 wholesalers?
You know, I don't know whether I'm missing something or not.
only 10%.
Jesse, you know, when we started this project, they came in and said we was gonna need 8 or 9 million gallons a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's changed
And of
dramatically.
course, that took everybody out, absolutely took everybody out. And now, as I understand it, you know, we're less than 2 million.
Well,
And it's to the point where Burlington can service this whole project,
but they
Plant
don't
can
have the
serve
water.
that project.
but you don't have the water rights.
So, we have,
What's the expected time to get you those rights, or will they answer that question?
we've had an application in for a year.
Well, you've already had the application in for that year?
Yep.
Have you been up to talk to them?
They were supposed to be looking at the project in November, and I have not heard whether they did or didn't. I can find out.
What was the request for and how much?
Just over $1.5 million
Residential or industrial?
in combination.
I know when I was involved in this, it was a number of years ago, trying to secure water rights for chemical spraying and everything. It took us 18 months to get the water rights, but it said it didn't have enough water. And if we had to make 2 trips up there, I don't know whether we ever would have got it or not.
Well, our application was for a totally new water right. It was not an expansion of our current one, and I think the current one could be expanded faster than the project for a new one.
And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, because we're kind of feeling our way along, but our way along is gonna have to get speeded up a lot.
Well, that was my question. That was my question for 12 and Burlington for Coffee 3, you know. It's a joint effort anyway, regardless. It's gonna be a joint effort, no matter what. If Burlington can kick up the usage or kick up the production, if some way Craig finds an extra hour every day or gets a different plant build or something, you know, it's still a joint effort regardless, because Coffee 3 is the distributor, you know, so we just gotta figure out how we're gonna get to the finish line. We're all carrying the same football, we just can't fumble it.
If this chip factory goes ahead and goes through, and we don't supply any water from Public 12, but we still bring 2,000 or 3,000 people into the area, and we have to serve 1,500 to 2,000 of them, we're not gonna have enough water for that, let alone the chip factory.
That was my comment,
Yeah.
Craig, that was exactly what I was getting to.
Yeah.
It's still a joint effort, no matter
We're
what.
gonna have to expand no matter what.
Right, that's exactly, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah, okay, I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah.
If I could clarify that 24 hours a day, where those numbers are coming from 2 opposite ends. One of them is what we can do for, 9 to 11 months out of the year, and the 24 hours, we're only talking about 13 days. Because that's where we designed to. Not what we can do on an average day, what happens during those 2 weeks when everyone's desperate for water. That's what we designed to, and that's the 24 hours. The rest of the time, it'll be better.
Regardless, you're at max,
Absolutely.
bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should
And you
never
supply
run over,
coffee 3 with water as well.
you really don't wanna run over 80% capacity, because you're gonna have trouble with your clarifiers. The pump's gonna break down, you're gonna have to take up hours to fix it, and then if you get behind, if you don't have the extra capacity, or after a water leak to pick up, you know, you're never gonna catch up.
Yeah.
We had 2 water leaks this summer, and both times it took 5.5 days to get caught up from it, because we were so busy.
Well, it's a good to have everybody in one room together and not throwing stuff at each other, so it's a good thing. But we all got the same goal. We just gotta figure out how to get to it. And,
Well, so does everybody agree, and Spur Water 3 is the applicant, that, I mean, everybody submits their bills and then we pay them, and then when Rural Water 3 gets their grant money, then they write us back a check?
I think that's the way it's gonna happen.
well, I'm there.
I mean, it has to happen in order, I mean,
In order
it
for it
says
to be launched.
reimbursable, so we might
Yeah.
get it rolling, get it started like as of today.
But I think bills will have to be submitted. If bills are submitted, bills cannot be submitted before the application is awarded, correct, Rick?
That's correct, yeah, if you wanna get reimbursed for them.
Yeah. So you might have to push bills back,
Middle of
let's say,
January.
here, really.
Middle of January is probably a realistic time for awards.
But there probably won't be anything going in the month of December with Christmas and everything else. There's not gonna be any bills generated in December. If not, they'll have to be rolled to January.
And that's for the grant for right now, so how long will it take to get the numbers as far as the, as far as the 3 entities?
Well, I'm gonna catch both of these gentlemen on the way out here today and start those
Okay,
conversations this
okay.
week, so, yeah.
So if it's awarded in January, what I'm getting at is that we'll need the number, you'll need the numbers fairly quickly to be able to,
Update the grant,
right,
correct.
okay.
I would think too, that just as soon as, CEC gets the numbers, and they'll get with Rick and I, and then we'll bring that forward to you all in one of your commission meetings. I would expect that to be, you know, I mean, again, let's work on how quickly we can get the numbers.
Hopefully that'd be next Monday, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, I thought that'd be a joke.
Well,
Sooner the better.
sooner the better, I mean, but they need to be realistic numbers too.
Yeah.
It can't be some off the wall catastrophic $150,000 for a study type, for one location, you know. That's why I said they tighten the belt a little bit. We got enough people on the payroll. So, I don't have anything. Anybody got anything else for the discussion? I think it was a good discussion.
Yeah,
It was.
that was
I mean, I know
well
there's-
needed one.
I know there's a lot of stuff that's been kept out, but now everybody knows we're just in the dark, just as everybody else. And
Thanks for the input.
we were sending out the feeler guys to go out to dodge the rocks that were thrown at them. So appreciate you all the time. Really, I think it was a good discussion. We'll get more going. We'll get it. See what's needed.
Well, maybe continued discussion on this thing.
There will be a time, there's gonna be a huge round table.
Every week or every 2 weeks.
And if, I would,
Keep the ball rolling.
I would say to anybody, I mean, if you want further discussion, I think for transparency reasons, I like it this way so that everybody's in the know, if you will. We're here all day on Mondays. So we can set up a 1 o'clock work session, a 2 o'clock work session, whatever you want or need. Because this conversation was very good and well needed, so.
We started trying to set the meetings up in the afternoons, because you just try to hammer too much in between 9 o'clock and noon.
There's a light schedule today, so if it's ever, the mornings are usually pretty packed, but I mean, we can always set aside a Monday afternoon to just sit here and hammer it out and discuss it. for however long it takes. Thanks again.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for
You don't have to leave, but it's gonna get pretty dark.
Yeah, you don't have to go home.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Oh, man.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.
Good, Marshall.
Take care, Richard.
Okay, thanks.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Honor Road's closed off, so don't go west of New Strong.
Anytime you guys wanna do a work study, just let us know. Okay.
Yeah, there'll be days.
Okay.
Once this deal gets done, I think we'll have another one.
Okay.
I think, it'd be great.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
At a point in time, there's gonna be a lot of them.
This is really enlightening today.
Yes. We have a break.
Is that feeling in your heart?
We could have 15-minute break. You good 15-minute break? I'm good with 15-minute break. We'll be back in 15 minutes from now. 11:57. All right, we're back. We gotta wait on Mr. Wade Bowie.
How absurd this one was.
Good conversation. I feel their pain.
Yeah.
We've been kept in the dark, Why bring you to the table? We don't know. I feel their frustration.
Yeah. Well, good morning, Wade.
Are you waiting on me?
Yeah, I guess Bobby's got an executive session.
Oh,
He just went out to find you.
There it is.
I was having a judge sign something.
Oh. All right, Mr. Bowie.
I'd like to request the commission go into a 20-minute executive session to discuss an RLF loan, a proposed RLF loan, under trade secrets and financial affairs of a corporation. Include the attorney, myself, and the commissioners.
I'll make that motion. 20 minutes.
Second. Moved by McCurry, seconded by Meats. Too many M's there. 20-minute exec session of the board.
Is this for negotiating contract, proposed contract terms?
A portion of it, yes.
It sounds like it might be better as attorney-client for contract, preliminary contract term discussion, because this is prior to it going to whoever the proposed recipient is. My preference is trade secrets and financial affairs is a little more tricky than.
And narrow.
It's very narrow, so I think it fits better on the attorney-client side. Just my opinion.
Whatever that makes you happy.
You have to reread it, right? I mean,
Well,
we
you
gotta
could
move-
just say, discuss matters deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship relating to preliminary contract discussion
On an RLF loan.
on it. Proposed.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, it was moved by McCurry, seconded by Meats. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at, I just lost my clock. We'll enter at 11:18 for 20 minutes. 11:15. Last executive session, no action taken.
Sounds good.
We're done with our normal schedule, gentlemen, so I guess you got something for us.
I'm not on the agenda, but I thought I would touch base, give everybody an update. You guys should have the same email as I do on River City's new updates. The big thing here that I want everybody to be aware of is today, River City has said it is the start of their mobilization day. The 27th of this month, they'll be breaking ground in that parking lot. So it's time for the employees to start getting the things parking in the new areas. We need that area clear, and it's not going to take till the last minute. I don't want people on the 27th to have to move cars out of that parking lot. It's time to clear the parking lot. So that's going to give everybody, week or 10 days here to find where they're going to get parking and get vehicles that are permanently parked out there. Like the county's SUVs or whatever that we drive. It's time to find parking spots. So,
I know the fleet vehicles, we were gonna stop end of across from the Methodist Church and work our way north with the fleet vehicles, so. I mean, I don't know who's or who's, I guess, out there.
So, whether you want to have Ms. Angie put a email out to, all the department heads to move those vehicles, but it's time.
Email's the best way to communicate with our employees.
Yeah. So it's time.
I know Amber was gonna put her emergency management vehicles right out here in the two handicap stalls that are no longer really being used, so.
I'm gonna back up just a little bit because he was talking about documents, and the documents, this is one of those documents. It's the guaranteed maximum price amendment. That's River City, if you remember them talking about that last week, you voted on it. And was it last week? It runs together now. Yeah. Last week, and then the document that formalizes it would be this document. And the amendment, you've already signed one of these A133 documents, and I don't remember the date right now, but the guaranteed maximum price was not within it. It was to be determined, and that's exactly what that wording would be. So this talks about the owner, Coffee County, construction manager, River City, all of the information. This is anything foreign that you haven't seen before, except for now we're adding what the guaranteed maximum price would be, and that's the $28,855,857. So later on down the road, for the court side, for the renovation, if that occurs, when that occurs, then there would be another amendment, and the same document would be presented once again.
A111, it says the contract sum of guarantee by the construction manager could not to exceed $25,712,800 and blah, blah, blah.
So, and that's an important distinction, because the $25,885 is specifically tied to River City and the construction side. And if you remember, the GMP for construction only, although the total approved project is $28,855,857, but that includes furniture and fixtures, FF&E, and the design costs. And that's an important distinction, but for River City's purposes, they're not involved in the other.
Right.
And their total cost, or their total GMP also includes the alternates 4, 5, 6, 7, or whichever ones that are in that motion.
Isn't that correct?
So
it lists them in there.
Yeah,
Right there.
here's the alternate 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then they earmark, and the design fees for that are $45,265, but that's included in the 28. So if you remember, that discussion occurred, and then I was contacted later that day by River City and said, well, the GMP really should be the 25, and I said no, because that will, I don't want to say this be misleading, but it will be confusing, because if you say it's 25 and it's really the 28, the 28 is the number for transparency purposes, because then it'll, if the bills come in and it says 25 and 28 is going on, then that, people are going to say, wait a minute, so.
And this is just jail only, this isn't the courthouse, the court chambers, judges chambers renovation either.
That's correct. So, this has substantial completion by the following date, 6/3/25. It has a new build, 6/3/25, and references the document. I don't think you want to go through every single page. It covers what needs to be covered, and then it requires a signature from the chairman. The other document that's tied to this is A-133, insurance and bonds. It talks about all the insurance and bonds that are tied to this project. And then at the very back end, if somebody ever wants to come in and request a copy of it, property insurance on all at-risk complete limited value, covering property owned by the construction manager used on the project, including scaffolding and other equipment. At the very end, additions and deletions report. So this is where, within this document, things that don't apply or are not a part of it are stricken, and any time anything happens, and if you go back to the original documents, you'll see the same document and in the same format. So, construction managers, insurance and bonds, B3221, commercial general liability insurance for the project, written on an occurrence form with policy limits of not less than $2 million each occurrence, $2 million general aggregate, and aggregate for products, completed operation hazard, providing coverage for claims, including, and then it goes through all the things that are tied to it. So
We have to hold the certificates of that, don't we? Wouldn't they have to send certificates to the clerk's office for certificate card holder of those insurance documents?
They should.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was part of it.
So it says at the discretion of the construction manager, we can make it to where if it's an issue, that they provide that to the county.
Well, I think it would be good to make sure that they do have the proper insurance, and we are listed on it and have it in hand to ensure that they are covered and we're covered.
So, I don't know if you want to flip through, but I'll go through. What it includes is all the different, the information that's been presented already, just as a part of this agreement. So, here you see the 2885, 857, the motion for the maximum GMP, but the 25, $712,885, and then here's your unit prices. This is the document that was presented last week. But
Now you're disconnected.
of course I am. I didn't know it timed out. So this is a modified version of the same thing you saw last week, but it includes alternate 4, 5, 6, and 7. All the conditions that were included, the exclusions. If you recall, Warren went through all of these to talk about what they were. So I don't think going back through them is beneficial. Here's the timeline, and this is the timeline that Tom was referencing, and specifically right here, LEC construction, first thing to occur, mobilization 12/4/23, site clearing and demolition 12/27/23, earthwork, mass excavation building pad 1/12/24. There's a contingency for weather going through February 2nd, 2024 to the 15th. Hopefully that doesn't need to be used, and then from there, sewer, storm sewer, water, and going on down. So, foundation, 2/16/24, plumbing, rough ends, 3/1/24. You can go on and on. Masonry, steel erection, if you're interested, 6/24/24. Building enclosure, August of 24. Jail cells, November of 24. And then for the courthouse renovation, the placeholder, June of 25. So just to give you the picture, and then here's clarification. I'm not going to go through all of those things.
I know they're moving along quite well up at Osage County, Linden. I was up there 2 weeks ago and it was not enclosed, and now it's pretty well enclosed.
I think from what Tom can correct me if I'm wrong, Eric too, they wanted to have, the goal on a project like this is to have it enclosed before
Winter sets in.
And if it's not enclosed, then that creates delays and problems.
Heat.
Yeah.
Gotta have a good temperature inside there.
And then here's your breakdown for alternates 1 through 9, and then in the red are 4, 5, 6, and 7, what those costs and packages are and how that ties to everything else. So ultimately, the final figure with alternates 4, 5, 6, and 7 is the 28,85, 857.
So in a nutshell, start parking somewhere else.
It's time to start. I mean, in the next 30 days, we're gonna have to have the parking lot clear. So, I'm trying to make sure that when they show up, there's no hindrance, that we get started, so. It'll be a change for everybody, it'll be different, but it needs to be done, so.
So fleet vehicles across from the Methodist church. Right? That,
I guess each department, what does that sound, email, each department is responsible for getting their vehicles that are theirs moved to that area.
yep. And vehicles that are, I guess, are not used on a regular basis should probably go all the way down to the south, would be my suggestion.
What I noticed is around the corner, as you head west around the corner, at the parking there on Niagara Street, not a lot of it gets used either, so I mean, if there are vehicles that hardly ever get used, that I would suggest that anyway, to leave more room to come this way.
And then one of the, for law enforcement that come in and out of the courthouse, whether it be for court or whatnot, I mean, they're usually on duty. I know when they come to court, for example, on a subpoena, they're parking outside, and then normally they park right behind the jail, but they're not gonna be able to do that anymore. I don't know if you designate just to the north, right out here, where law enforcement can park, and that sort of be a staging area, so if they have a call, they can run out and jump in and take off to an emergency call and respond. I don't know what Tom and Eric's thought is about that. I mean, they're here all the time.
We'll find farmers clubs.
It's kind of one of those situations where you don't know what you're gonna be faced with until people start moving, right? And so, what's it gonna look like for somebody that needs to come in, who's on the response situation, so they can get back to the vehicle? We'll just have to adapt to it. Maybe have to make some changes if we need to later, but don't know what the problem will be yet, if any.
Which then leads into,
Hopefully.
I'm probably going to tell my dispatch staff and everybody else, jail staff, whatever, I hope they still park behind until we truly get into, putting up that transformer and switch and everything else. It'll go in what I call a little smoke shack area. But directly across the street to the east over here, in front of those apartments, where we had all those spots over there, I've driven by that multiple times in the past 2 weeks, and the most there's 3 or 4 cars parked there. So I'm gonna have my dispatch probably parked there, my jail staff when the time comes, because it does have a light there, and they're gonna have to walk from there to get into the sheriff's office. Night shift, midnight employees or whatever, but we'll just make it work. I mean, it is what it is. The best situation we have right now is just, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Things always get worse before they get better.
Absolutely. Always get started before we get to light, right?
which means this west door is not gonna be as accessible. I don't know if it's gonna be completely closed off, but.
We always talked about having that, shut off, where unless you had any bad, that you couldn't get in. Once the construction truly starts, I think for safety, they're gonna probably have some bollards up there, they may have some tape, they may have some snow fencing or whatever. At that point, when they truly start breaking ground, it's probably in our best interest for security and liability to lock that door so the public knows, and maybe have some signage, put it out in the paper and on Facebook, all of our web pages, to enter on the east doors, so we don't have this issue, somebody walking through the construction area get into the west door.
Do you know how that will impact the basement door?
Basement door won't have any effect on it. So while we're driving around the other day, we came into another issue here in the parking lot. This is the new parking lot across the street to the north. When you pull in, there are arrows pointing in and out on the right of way. And there's this curb, see that
Hold on, let me pull all these up so we can flip back between them all.
We had spoke of getting those painted yellow, but we never moved forward with it, so
But we talked about it, and I was in the process of having that done, but I wanted to make sure before anything was done, this board approved it, but this is the curb right here, and if you ever went to Dollar Tree when it first opened, backing up and watching people get, still may drive over, but at least if it's yellow, it may not be as much of a problem. And the yellow, painting yellow all the way down. So starting here, going across the middle, and then all the way up.
Why could we not put yellow flat, like, bridge markers on that? Drill them into the concrete? Road and Bridge could, like,
we just keep calling Ryan and see what he could do to help us.
but I still think you set in the vehicle, you're still not gonna see that. Even if it's painted yellow, pink, purple, blue, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah.
But if you put something up that's gonna be above the hood of the vehicle, you know, they got the yellow 4-inch bridge markers.
Again, I'm not arguing one bit. The only question I have on that is, Wade had talked about putting some arrows outside of that sidewalk. That's city property, that's right away.
So I took these this morning, so you can see these signs, these arrows. Basically, you have to be almost up on them before, as you drive into the parking lot, to see the one up here going in and then the one coming out. But if you're out here,
Can't hardly see them.
well, you can't hardly see them, and I don't know what needs to be put, if anything, if somebody thinks they're gonna be able to park right here, then maybe to see if there's something that could be done to put like this type of design on the outside, right here, basically parallel to the curb going down, to show that that's not a parking area, because I feel like.
Well, there's a GMC parked there right now.
We towed it off.
Oh, towed it off?
To me, it leaves an image to,
Monkey see, monkey do, right?
to me, it leaves an image to park 3 or 4 cars there. That thing needs definitely to be painted yellow or something. It's got a,
Well, to have an arrow, this is the
Somebody-
out, this is out, so have an out arrow here and then an in arrow here.
that'd be helpful.
Because if not, people are gonna be utilizing that. I mean, I don't know if it's clear enough, or maybe
It's hard to foolproof it for people that can't drive.
I don't think anybody's driven across that hump yet. Sooner or later, you're right, it's gonna happen.
It's until somebody's oil pan off.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have some.
And somebody that doesn't live here more than likely is not gonna recognize they're not supposed to park out there on that apron, right? So.
Who get you?
Well, you could put some diagonal signs outside like they're on the inside, put an in and out arrow further out, would probably take care of most of it, I think.
So just trying to be proactive and anticipate problems before they become a problem.
So you had a picture in there, somebody parked incorrectly.
Where, right here?
No, in the parking lot.
Right there?
Nope. Nope.
I didn't see.
Yep.
Got some of them.
Oh, they pulled through.
One car's pulled through the first
So
part.
how's it gonna leave? Is it gonna make a left or is it gonna make a right? That's the first thing, that's what I thought, I thought that's where we was going when I seen that vehicle parked there. I was like, oh.
Well, there'll be some of that too, but,
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah, until you start filling it up.
They'll do that until they have to weed
Back
their
up.
way out of there. Because if somebody's beside them and somebody's behind them, then,
Stand deals, put
Mountain there.
10 of them on that riser. Should work fine, I think.
They make their own signs too.
Mhm.
do you know about that right-of-way area? Does that require the city to, would that be a mark?
To paint some.
I would say we'd wanna get a blessing from them, make sure it's okay.
Did-
As long as you're putting that up there, you probably need to put a sign up there that says,
No parking.
no parking. Makes it pretty clear not to use that apron.
What if you put in yellow in this
No
area?
parking.
No parking,
Yeah. Yep.
and then have it, grid.
If you kept it out of that heavy traffic area, it ought to last quite a while.
Mhm.
So just things that come up.
I can get with Brian and Mark.
That's progress. Trying to get everybody move out, existing parking lot, and then making sure that this is safe for everybody else, so.
You wanna check with the city, I'll check with Ron.
Okay.
I'll split it with you.
Alright.
I took these pictures this morning before I came in, so that I meant to do it over the weekend.
Busy watching football?
A little bit of football.
Last team.
Gentlemen,
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, guys.
I'll have to request another executive session with them. I anticipate 12:30.
I'll wait on you.
We need to authorize the chairman to sign those documents for River City today, or?
Yes. So there's another document that is in your packet that's a PDF, and it also needs to be approved, and it's this document, the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan related to the Law Enforcement Center. It says prepared for Tom Huguenin, because back when it started, Tom was the chairman, so the document has Tom's name for signature, but what it covers is the evaluation, assessment, and planning, documentation, compliance with federal requirements, has a whole section, interesting enough, if anybody wants to request the document, the endangered species, and then historical sites that are part of this, but it's many, many pages long, and basically it covers the description of the project, what it deals with related to the stormwater side of it.
We don't have that. Have we got that?
It's in a blue, down below, jail project stormwater.
Click on it, it'll pop up.
Click on them green
PDF. Or if it was in your, if it was included within your, whatever that program is, you have 150 pages.
Yeah.
So this, before the project can even move forward, this has to be reviewed and signed off on by the state. So that's why it's something that's important to.
Any more of the state, I'm a subcontractor for a couple projects with the state, and every subcontractor's got to sign off on it, just so they know that basically if dirt leaves a project, it leaves in a truck, it don't leave via stormwater. So that's all they're trying to convey.
Who are these people that keep on saying they're joining?
Yeah, I seen that.
Some raccoons.
Raccoon just joined. Well, I've got things all jacked up now.
There it is. That green one, click on it twice. Twice.
Where you go from there?
It'll open up.
Should open up for you.
So that's what green means, if you gotta click it.
It's a PDF, you click on it twice, tap on it twice, it should open up. Mine did anyway.
Thanks for making me mad.
Having trouble?
Well, my cropper, somehow I got the cropper involved.
Oh. Oh.
How do you get it back to her?
Fox joint.
And you get it back.
To get it to the size, paper letter size.
Yes. I don't know. Undo everything I did? Yeah,
Which one are you doing?
I was on the top one.
Like I say, in theory, I think with it for a while, mine didn't open like yours did, it opened a different room.
Yeah.
A different way.
You have yours open? I got mine open.
Did you get it, Don?
Oh,
I didn't get it on the full screen.
I'm trying to get it on full screen.
Over.
Okay.
Did you have to apply split screen? You did, I didn't know.
I don't know.
Basically,
No,
that's all
but
it's
anyway, you
done.
could probably just pinch it.
We
to
did
open
that
it up.
and it took this side out.
Yeah,
It wasn't underneath those
yeah.
two
Did you
columns.
get it? Steve?
Well, I didn't think.
Yeah. Oh.
So who got the excavating for the gym? Do we know?
The initial thing? Well, I don't know.
Cause see, we didn't get to see who bid on stuff. We didn't get to see none of that.
You can ask for it. Ask who got awarded what.
You had a list of, earlier,
Thank you.
in one of those contract documents, it listed out right there, work packages and who's doing what.
Oh, yep, that's it.
Concrete, Unlimited's doing concrete, Wheatland Masonary's doing the masonry, Haas Metal Engineering, steel fabrication.
Skelman doing the exterior improvements?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Skillman, okay. Earthwork, site demolition, turf and grasses. Skillman Construction. McElroy's
Doing plumbing and HVAC.
Well, macro deal's $5 million, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Framing, drywall, insulation, ceilings, Higgins Group. Alpha Roofing. Concrete Unlimited.
Concrete, they're the ones out of St. Louis, aren't they? Tom?
That's peak.
That's Peak.
So,
Where's Alpha Roofing's headquarters
I
at?
think it's in Topeka.
Alpha Roofing's right here in Furman.
It's here, but where's their headquarters at?
so
Wonder. I know they're here.
I have one of these printed off because one of them has to be signed by the owner, and that's on page 4. So this is document A-133, 2019 Exhibit A, the guaranteed maximum price amendment, and then attached directly to it is, or immediately behind it is document A-133, 2019 Exhibit B, insurance and bonds. So there'll need to be a motion to for the chairman to sign.
Do you have a motion, Cindy?
I don't have any motion yet. Because you,
And you might go back in time and find the one from our construction project and just copy and paste that because they had the same documents in a different, for a different project that might help you.
AIA document?
what are you doing in 2022?
It would have been 2023.
Earlier this year.
Okay.
Because whenever the parking project started, And then the other one to consider is part of that PDF, but this notice of intent for authorization to discharge stormwater runoff from construction activities, and I suggest that because Tom's name is listed, that Tom signs it.
Let's use my pen if you want to.
You're so generous.
That's so generous. Anything to deal with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, I'm good with you signing.
Well, every subcontractor's gonna have to sign one of these for the GC, if you will, acknowledging that you have to do what you can to prevent dirt from leaving the site through storm sewer.
Okay, I have it on there, but I don't know what I need to change at the bottom.
Well, you wanna review her motion that she's got on the deal?
Is Goldberg part of it too?
Yes, let me figure out how to get out of this.
Yeah, not to exceed $30 million is still in there, but it's more defined to 28. 28,085,875. So,
257.
yeah, 257.
So this is, I don't know if, I don't think Goldberg needs to be included in this one,
Okay,
because this one is only for the, 25,712,885.
So that's what you want in the motion? Not the 28?
Yes, because this is just between the county and
River
Go-
City.
and,
River City.
Okay, so.
For the
so,
construction.
25,712,885.
So if you look where I have that highlighted, I would, well, and I would include that.
Subject to. It's getting longer and longer. Determined at a later date's not correct, is it? Guaranteed maximum price to be determined at a later date, that could be taken out.
Yep.
Not to exceed $25,712,885 million.
Yep, and it needs to be looking for because this covers the construction part of the project, so I think it needs to reference. agreement between the owner and construction manager as constructor. So after, River City, it says, after LLC, but before the word where, as constructor.
I don't think anything changed on mine from your typing right there, Angie.
Yeah, mine didn't change.
Okay, where are you at?
If you go to immediately after the word LLC, River City Construction LLC,
Uh-huh.
and then just add the word as constructor.
As constructor?
Yep. And then that then follows the wording where basis of the payment is
On the
constable.
basis payment.
Is constructor right? Okay, it should be there.
As constructor,
Okay.
start there, cost of work plus. How far do you go, Wade?
Where the basis of payment, it's already there.
Basis
Is
of
the
payment,
cost
is a cost of.
Yeah.
Plus AC with the guaranteed maximum price. Do you want the dated part on there?
No, and then, we just need to add after $1 million, for the construction of the Coffee County Law Enforcement Center.
Look.
Okay.
And I think just so it's a part of the motion, we might put that immediately after center and brackets, similar to what it is there. You see what I have up there? Bigger.
Okay, put that in brackets.
Yep. So the motion, the GMP that was authorized last week was for the 28th. This will flow with the. Do I need to make it bigger for you?
A little bit, if you could.
Yep.
That's good. And so where do you want that, at the very end?
So after the word center in brackets.
Okay.
And then it just could be verbatim what this says, represents GMP for construction only. Total approved project GMP is the 2885,857.
Have a drink after that, before I read that.
And this is dated, dated December 4th, 2023.
Do you want me to put that?
What the heck, you might as well. Just go ahead and type this whole document up, I'll read it.
Okay.
Devil's in the details.
Come get document A-133, it's right here. All right, motion to authorize direct chairman to approve as to form by the county attorney to sign AIA document A-133-2019 Exhibit A, a standard form of agreement between owner, Coffee County Board of Commissioners, and construction manager constructor, River City Construction LLC, as constructor, where the base of payment is the cost of the work plus a fee with a guaranteed maximum price not to exceed $25,712,885 for the construction of Coffee County Law Enforcement Center. Represents GMP total for construction only. Total approved project GMP is $875. $28,085,857. Dated December 4th, 2023. Subject to additions. Deductions for change order is provided in the contract documents. Funds to come from the jail construction project, fund number 111.
I so move.
I'll second. Moved by Hugon and seconded by Knight. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And then we've got another one to do, correct?
Yep. And the wording in that one,
He's about ready for another motion, Angie.
Okay.
so it's a motion for the vice chairman to sign and then I just put that
Is that N01? Or
in
N09?
NOI, notice of intent.
Yeah.
So the second document gave me, there's no signature in that, right?
No, that's a part of that same,
Okay.
they're married together. One is A and one is B. But
10-4, I see it now.
Okay.
Somewhere a long time ago, they said too much dirt from construction projects was winding up in the storm sewer system, which in turn winds in the river, which in turn creates silt. So they created this stormwater prevention deal but every project got the socks like they had out there, and then in front of the storm sewer boxes, you gotta put gutter buddies, and they actually have a person that controls that.
I read that, he reads that.
Move to authorize the vice chairman to sign the notice of intent for authorization to discharge storm water runoff from construction activities in accordance with the Kansas Water Pollution Control General Permit under the National Pollutant discharge elimination system, seconded,
I'll move.
D moved,
I'll second.
Don seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. We got one.
I'll have to print that one off for you.
Okay.
Thought there was a hard copy for that too.
Oh, wait, is that what this is? Wait. There you go. Sorry about that.
There you go.
And then Angie, would you, once we have those signed, would you email them to Warren,
Okay.
please, and thank you?
Not a problem. So, where's the one to sign?
It's right there.
Okay.
There's two of them. A and B. I signed A. There was no signature for B.
Okay.
They just tie together.
Okay.
So,
Which one are you looking at? You want me to put it up on the screen?
I guess I'm confused on the signature part because, it's got Matthew Miller top, license certification number, as the engineer.
You're talking about this right here?
Yeah.
So,
There's a fee associated with this, also I'm agreeing that, I'm certifying that there is a stormwater pollution prevention plan in place, will be or has been developed, okay.
yeah.
So I'm still signing as the owner operator?
You're the owner or operator, so
Okay.
you're the owner and then you'd write what
Which
your
is-
name is, or your signature, printed name, official title. And then this other document is the plan itself.
Right, yes.
It's somewhat confusing.
Yes. I was looking for another signature page, but there was not. The ones I found signed as a subcontractor on it, was in debt.
Yeah, my understanding is the owner has to sign it, but it's being taken care of and addressed by Matt Miller under his license.
Right. Done.
There you go, remove.
And I need to send that to the state too?
You need
Just
to warrant as well.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And we're in roundtable too.
Yep.
So today is the day under the resolution that, if you remember Mike Avendroth and the UDO property, it was scheduled to close on or before 5 o'clock today. It's not gonna close on or before 5 o'clock today. And the reason why has nothing to do with anything that Mike Avendroth did. It has nothing to do with what Coffee County did. What it has to do with is, if you've heard the conversations about the statewide judicial branch, district court, yeah, the system was compromised, and
Oh, that's
everything
right.
that's filed, or was filed up until that time, is filed on what's called eFlex, where you have to scan it, and then you submit it, and it gets a electronic file stamp. Well, that went bye-bye, and then you have, since that time, everybody's been doing hand stamping, where you go down, you actually have to physically get a stamp, and it's the old school way, the way I grew up doing it. What that's done on title work for real property has caused a little bit of a delay, or maybe a major delay, I don't know, depends on how you want to put it. So anytime there's property that's going to go from one owner to another, title companies will do their research to make sure there's not something that will cause a title to be defective for any future purposes. Because of the statewide system, they have kiosks up at the judicial branch where you can go up and do research that way. And some people are doing that, and that will allow you to go back in time and access the e-file documents. But then you also have to do the research for what happened from the one time when the e-filing system went down until present time, which would be paper filing. There's a delay and a lag in that information, and the title work that can give you basically a title that people want to go with the property is delayed, and that's why that closing can't go through, because the title company can't get what they need right now. We're working on that, and hopefully that will occur soon. If they can't get what they need, then they issue what's called an indemnification letter, which basically says we make no promises related to the marketability of this title, which isn't what you want if you're buying property, to be honest. So for that reason, I'm going to request a motion to extend the closing date on that property until such time as Coffee Land Title can obtain
Clear title.
a satisfactory title. And I'm not sure, I'd give a date, but I thought December 4th would be plenty of time when that resolution was passed. On the flip side of that, I contacted Mr. Abendroth and I explained the situation to him, and he prefers that issue be resolved before he closed on the property. So he was in support of it, and if you want to set a deadline so we can review it again, maybe,
Say leave it open,
Yeah, just say.
that way
Extend it.
or not.
but it's already been, by resolution, once closing occurred, it's basically been agreed to by this board. It's just, that's when closing was to occur, so.
Motion to extend closing date on the UD property until such time as Coffee County Land and Title can obtain a satisfactory title.
So moved.
And I
He
just
doesn't
act
like
with
it. He doesn't like it.
the sale with Mike Avendroth, purchasing the UD property, just so it's
Do you want me to add that?
closing date on the sale of the UD property to Mike Avendroth.
Okay, motion with corrections moved to extend the closing date on the sale of the UDO property to Mike Avendroth until such time as Coffee County Land and Title can obtain a satisfactory title.
So moved.
Moved by Huguenin. Seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye, motion passes.
Sorry, I don't mean to make it more complicated, that
I seen you licking your lip, you was ready to chime in.
so the way you have to look at these is your motions are the ability to go back in time and figure out what happened on whatever date. If it doesn't have certain words or phrases, then it makes it a whole lot more difficult to do that research. The other thing that impacts doing specialist title work for the county is that, for example, if the county, one of the things land title will look into is if the county has any pending litigation against it, which may impact that title. And that's already happened previously. It happened with the Sunset Manor property, to the point where the county obtained a waiver of lien related to that property, and that's in essence what would have to happen with other property the county sell, just because that will cloud that title. So, last thing I have is a 10-minute executive session. Myself and the board, it's under attorney-client. It's related to a legal issue surrounding the revision to the Coffee County Policy and Procedure Manual.
Can you say that again, relating to the revision of Coffee County Policy Procedure Manual? Is that it?
Yes.
So moved. Moved by, I'll second. Moved by me, seconded by Knight. Any discussion for a 10-minute executive session for Ford? Wade? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We will enter at 12:49.
And you just sent me the.
Yep. 12:49 for 10 minutes. Alright, I'm back. Last executive session, no action taken. While we're waiting on Wade, Steve, you got your round table?
I do not.
Don, do you have your round table?
No,
Tom? Angie?
Only thing I have, so do you want me to send that email out about the parking, or
Please.
you want Ray to do it or something?
I just send it out.
And then, it looks like we're gonna have a department head meeting maybe Friday. I don't know, are you available, Steve, or?
Oh, gosh.
Not to put you on the spot, but we're having some issues with the pay dates apparently now, so.
Now that we passed something.
What time?
Well, I'm asking them if they're available at 10, so,
That should work.
okay. If you can.
If I get home and find out that, I'm not showing it.
Okay, well, if not, I can get somebody else,
Fine.
somebody else available.
Good, how are you?
Approximately, 10.
We're looking at that. I've already changed it twice, so we'll see if the third time's the charm.
All right.
And if not,
As of right
do you
now, I
wanna
can-
come in, or?
Yep, let me know.
I'll,
To my
if
knowledge,
I can, I'll just call Tom. Is that all right?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's fine, so.
Somebody in favor?
As we were walking back, that was, Warren Moody from River City calling, asking what happened with those documents and that they're sitting there ready to
I'll send it right now.
get going. No, I told them that it got addressed this morning and they'll be coming, so they were talking about their next plan and what type of notice the county wanted, because I asked them, I said, when are you gonna start bringing things in and setting things up? He said, well, we're talking about that right now, how much notice do you want? I said, no less than a week, so.
Yeah.
They're gonna take care of that, and I think they'll be here sooner rather than later.
It's cool. Where I went through round table, Angie said something about, department head meeting for Friday.
Are you available Friday around 10? Unless I have to change it again.
It's about the paydays.
Yeah. What time did you say?
10?
Unless she has to change it, because it doesn't work for somebody else. Surely to send a department head or a representative of the department.
You made it at 11, I could make it.
Okay, we can change it to 11.
Make it 2 o'clock Friday afternoon.
I'm available then.
You're available at 2 as well? Well, 11 or 2.
Actually, later in the day on Friday is better for me, because then things get
We could
clear.
do 1 o'clock if it would work better.
I'm just running around, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say we could change it to 1.
We can do it whenever you would like. Whenever, whoever likes.
I guess throw out 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock,
Okay.
see which one gets the consensus. I go with 2, that's my vote. but
Okay.
I can make 11 work.
Let's make it 2 PM Friday.
2.
And if that doesn't work, Steve,
Yeah, if I find out that that's not gonna work, I can just reach out to Tom.
To my knowledge, I have nothing as of yet.
Sit in there, have your department head or a representative of your department present at 2 o'clock. Not a fit for everybody, but
And then we also had Angie just email all department heads to move fleet vehicles to, or is that something you wanted to?
So, I mean, I'm gonna have at least the vehicles that are in general circulation that everybody uses.
Right.
Moved over there, but I don't know what other vehicles there are.
And I don't know either, so I know Amber's got a couple and then Health Department's got a couple,
yeah.
so.
Yep.
So are you sending the email, or did you want me to? I don't care, I just wanna know, I don't wanna do something you're doing.
Right, that's why I brought it up, to make sure he's okay with it.
If you're gonna send it out, I'd have to go back through and find everybody's email and
Okay.
populate it in a group thing.
So regarding fleet vehicles down here, and then everybody, or not yet on that?
So, I think just to give them a heads up that it's gonna be happening very soon, it just,
Okay.
I call it planting seeds. Be prepared, and once I get a message from River City that they're showing up a week later, because they said they'd give a week notice that they're gonna mobilize, then that's sort of the trigger. I don't know what that's gonna entail, but we probably need to have everything cleared out so we don't have to.
Scramble.
so when you get that notice, if it's not during a meeting day or something like that, can you send out a page over an intercom system throughout the courthouse saying, as of blank date, all personnel vehicles need to be moved out of the west parking lot?
I like that idea, but I'd probably just go to each office and say, that's a whole lot easier. I think when those pages go out, they kind of throw people off, because you're in the middle of doing something, and people pick up their phone and hang it up, thinking that they don't know what's going on. The last thing I have for you is if we can put HR partners on the agenda for the 18th. We want to get in the policy manual before the end of the year.
18th of December.
So I don't know what time slots are available.
Does 9:30 work? How much time does she need?
I'd say 30 minutes just in case.
Okay.
You hope.
And I'll have to confirm whether it's by Zoom or in person.
I hope she can be in person.
She needs to be.
We good?
That's all I have.
Everybody else good? Angie good? Nobody else has anything else? We'll adjourn at 1:10. Very good. Flip the switch. switch. Thank you.
We done. Supposedly. Well, supposedly.